Hey there, game gurus. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about something from Joe Sabo. It's going to be artwork for the GRS Build-A-Cade. Now the GRS Build-A-Cade does come with its own artwork, and we have very high quality decals on it, but it might not be to everyone's liking. The whole point of the GRS Build-A-Cade is you make it your cade. Make it the way you want. So I got a set of artwork from Joe Sabos, which will go on here, I hope fairly easily. It looks like it should. And we can convert this into, well, let's find out. On today's episode of the Glenn's Retro Show, let's get started. Okay, so like I was just saying a moment ago, we do include decals with the GRS Build-A-Cade. Now the decals we do include is a very heavy-duty, thick, easy to install decal. You don't get any bubbling on it. It's very thick. It can take a lot of abuse, which is something that we wanted to make sure was a good quality decal we put in there. But it might not be to everyone's liking, and maybe they want it to look more like a specific machine. So the kit I got from Joe Sabos Arcades is I'm going to turn my machine into Robotron 2084. Now this is not a regular decal. I'll bring mine back over here just for another second here so you can kind of see them together. So this is a decal. It's thick, but it's still a decal. This is acrylic. So it's what's called reverse painted. So the ink is on the underside of the acrylic. They have a protective coating on the outside, just like you would have on a lot of arcade machines, I suppose. Where this is actually, it's still very thick and robust, but the painting is on the outside of the artwork. Still is very robust, so I'm very happy with the way this turned out. But this is acrylic, and it's got a little flex to it, not too bad. Again, like mine, it doesn't flex too easy, but mine does flex a little easier than this does. This feels a lot more solid. But he does include the two sides for the machine with self-adhesive backing. He includes the control panel for the dual joysticks, which you can see right here, and it's got self-adhesive on the back. You can see it's nice and thick, and again, it's reverse painted, so the ink and artwork is underneath the acrylic. And then under the control panel, there's a 2084 logo. And then, of course, you have to have your light-up marquee, because GRS Build-A-Cade has a light-up marquee. Here is the light-up marquee. You can see this has got the protective coating on it right now. You can kind of see a little bit easier reversed here, but that's where it's actually inked on that side. And then you have the acrylic and on this side. And then lastly, we have the screen bezel here, which again, the ink is on the back side, protected. A little piece of dust, we'll get that off there. And that's the screen. Now the good thing about the screen is you don't have to put this on. You just replace the plexiglass we include and replace it with this piece of acrylic. So that's going to be easy. And well, let's get started installing the artwork on a dual joystick GRS Build-A-Cade for some Robotron 2084. So we can see here I have my dual joystick Build-A-Cade. There's no marquee on it at all, no decals on this one at all. Now, since we do have to put the marquee in here and change the display, we will have to use the 6 screws, take them out, and slightly disassemble the machine. Not too bad. Just take up one side panel, and then we can slide out the screen and the bezel here, and add the new ones in. So let's get started doing that. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is just on the back of the Build-A-Cade, we have 6 screws. We're just going to take out those screws so we can take off the back panel. And basically take up this back panel, take up one of these sides, and we can get started. There we go. That little sucker's really stuck in there. There we go. So we're going to take out our reflector here. We don't need that. And we are going to replace it with Joe's one right here. Just going to take off the protective coating. Slide that down in place. We're going to put a decal on here, which is going to be this one right here. We'll take off our adhesive on the back. Just going to line it up the best we can. I'm going to take off the protective coating. Next we need to do our joystick. Okay, we have our control panel. And do the same thing, take off the adhesive on the back and we'll put it over just like so. The beautiful thing is, this stuff, it's hard to see on camera, but it's very thick. Very good quality. There we go. I'm going to take a control panel. We have a little shelf down here. Get all the dust off there. To help you line this up. So when you put it down, you can actually rest it down on the shelf. And just line up your buttons. There we go. And when you're happy with it, just press down. That's it. Then you take off the protective cover. And that looks pretty good. Now this is the acrylic we use here for our screen. We won't need this at all, so we can take this out of the way completely. And we are going to replace it with Joe's right here, and we just got to take off the protective coating. We're just going to slide that down in the slot. I'm just going to reassemble this, and then we'll put on the side artwork. Okay, we have most of our artwork done. We have our little screen here below the controllers. We have a control panel overlay, a screen bezel, and the light art marquee here. We still have to do the side panels. We're going to do that next. So lay this down. Just make sure there's no dust on it. Now, I'll put it on this side real quick because I have my decal here as well. Let's start this side here first. So, I want to make sure there's no dust on there. Now you can see our decal went on very easy as well. There's no bubbling on it. You just lay it down, you peel off your backing, lay it down, and you're done. Joe's should be just as easy, if not easier. Again, we have our self backing right here, and we have our protective covering here. Again, make sure there's nothing here. It shouldn't show any bubbles because it's acrylic. It's pretty thick. And we just have to make sure we have it lined up, and we're just going to put it on. That's it. So we'll peel off our backing and get started. Now when I pull this backing off, I try and not pull it all off at once. I start lining it up, and then I will remove more backing as needed. fits really, really well. That's one side done already. Get that in the whole camera. I get that in the whole camera? There we go. So I'm not going to take off this protective coating just yet, so I got to do the other side. And I'll do the same thing. I just peel off some of the backing, maybe about this far back, get it lined up, and then I'll pull it off as I go. So if I make a mistake, I can get it off fairly easy. Again, I want to really stress how thick this is. This is not something that's going to show bubbles through it or even small imperfections. It's going to cover anything. Just make sure it's fairly clean and you shouldn't have any problems. The hard part is always just starting to get these pieces of paper pulled off. There we go. Again, I pull off, you know, about that much. And I'm just going to put it this way to make it easier for myself. And that's it. So that's it. The artwork from Joe Szabos Arcade is extremely easy to put on, just like the stock artwork we include with the kit. And next to the artwork we include in our kit, this is probably the most robust artwork you're going to be able to get for your GRS Build-A-Cade. And it does transform the machine. I mean, the GRS Build-A-Cade is a nice looking little machine, but it looks like a hobby project. When you start adding artwork like this, you really are turning your little GRS Build-A-Cade into a true little arcade machine. And the Robotron 2084 artwork here from Joe Szabos Arcades is fantastic. It's not hard to put on, it's very well protected, it goes on so easy, and you know, if you do put it on and it's not placed in the right spot, as long as you press down on it, it's very easy to pull up, reposition, and put down. The adhesive is very forgiving as far as that goes. Now I will say, I was putting on the artwork while I was reassembling the machine, but I think in hindsight, I probably would reassemble the machine once I put in the lattice marquee and the screen bezel. I probably would put all the artwork on after the fact, because you want to make sure these are centered. If they're all too far to the sides, you may have a problem closing the unit. Now, I was such a nut job, I made sure it was centered anyway, so I was fine. But I think for the average person putting it together, all of this here, and even the side artwork, I think should reassemble the machine first, and then put on the artwork. But that's it for today's episode. I mean, it speaks for itself. You can see it right here. And this is just one of Joe Szabos' designs for the GRS Build-A-Cade. There are a few others on his website now, and he's taking suggestions for other artwork to make this. And again, this is not a regular decal, it's actually acrylic, and it's really hard to see how thick it is. You have to really see it for yourself, but this stuff is definitely top quality. That's it for today's episode. I hope you did enjoy it. If you want to get yourself some Joe Szabos Arcades artwork, whether it be for the GRS Build-A-Cade or other projects, I'll put links down below for Joe Szabos Arcades. And of course, you want a GRS Build-A-Cade. These things are selling out really well, but we still have some available, so grab one soon. But that's it for today's episode. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did like it, please like, share, subscribe, and definitely tell your friends. But more importantly, make sure you tell your family and friends that you love them, because playing these things are great, but can't replace your family and friends. But that's it. No matter what you do, no matter what game system you play on, or what artwork you decide to use, just remember to game on and have some fun. Game on.